Do I delight in something because it is beautiful? Or is it beautiful because I delight in it? St. Augustine asks a deceptively simple question. And that question leads us into the main question of today's video. Is beauty evidence for God? And I think the best way to approach this topic is by beginning with something that we all experience. Think about the experience that make you stop. Standing on a mountain and looking across an enormous landscape. Hearing music that seems to reach somewhere deeper than words. Looking at someone you love, walking into a beautiful ancient cathedral and seeing the night sky, the night starry sky. In those moments, we don't simply see something, we delight in it. We want to keep looking, we want to keep listening, we want to contemplate it. And often the only word we need to describe this experience are, that's beautiful. But what exactly are we saying? Beauty seems to do something to us. It draws us, it attracts us, it causes us to delight. And this is something the ancient Christian tradition understood deeply. Beauty is not merely something we happen to enjoy. Beauty is that which, when apprehended, draws the mind and desire toward itself. This is why beauty differs from usefulness. A useful thing answers, what can I do with this? Beauty asks, isn't this wonderful simply to behold? We don't look at the sunset because it is useful. We don't listen to a beautiful musical symphony because it produces something practical. Beauty gives us delight in contemplation. It attracts us towards itself. But is beauty merely subjective? Now Augustine's question becomes important. Do I delight in something because it is beautiful? Or is it beautiful because I delight in it? If beauty is nothing more than personal preference, then there is ultimately no difference between I like this and this is beautiful. But if we're being honest, that's not normally how we speak as humans. When I call music beautiful, we give reasons. We speak about harmony, proportion, unity, rhythm, and resolution. When we call a building or architecture beautiful, we point to the symmetry, to the structure, to the light, and to the proportion. We can even learn to appreciate beauty we previously failed to recognize. So, beauty is not simply what I happen to like, it is connected to the way a thing actually is. The classical Christian tradition speaks about beauty through categories such as form, proportion, unity, completeness, and radiance. And this is how the Christian tradition defines beauty. A thing is beautiful when it possesses the fullness appropriate to what it is. When its parts are properly ordered and related toward one another and toward the whole, and when its form is appropriately manifested. For an example, think of a human body. A hand isn't simply beautiful because of its fingers in isolation. Its beauty is understood in relation to the whole hand and then to the whole body. Or think of a great piece of music like Beethoven. Its beauty isn't found in individual sounds. It comes from the relationships between them: unity, proportion, development, and resolution. Beauty is therefore profoundly relational. It involves the relation of parts to a whole. It involves the proper manifestation of what something is. And this means beauty reveals something about reality itself. A beautiful thing isn't merely a collection of parts, it is a whole. Its parts belong together. Its form makes sense. Its structure is therefore intelligible. Beauty, therefore, reveals order. And this is where scripture becomes fascinating. In Genesis, God creates the world and repeatedly says, God saw that it was good. Creation isn't presented as meaningless matter. It has form, it has order, and it has goodness. And therefore, in Genesis, the world is beautiful. The Christian tradition sees this order as flowing from the Creator. The world is intelligible because it comes from divine intelligence. And this is why John begins the Gospel. In the beginning was the Word, the Logos, and all things were made through Him. The universe is not ultimately irrational. It comes from the Logos. Creation possesses order because it comes from divine wisdom. Now, we can ask the metaphysical question. Where does this beauty come from? If beautiful things possess specific qualities that we have just spoken about, why is reality like this in the first place? Christianity begins with creation. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. God is not one thing inside the universe. He is the cause, the creator of the universe. So the intelligible order we encounter within creation that leads to beauty ultimately comes from its creator. Beauty is not an accidental decoration added onto reality. It is a manifestation of the order of creation. But Christianity goes even further. God does not merely create beautiful things. God is himself the beautiful one. Every beautiful thing we encounter is finite. A beautiful song will end. A sunset fades. A beautiful body ages. A beautiful building decays. Yet, when we encounter beauty, we recognize something that seems greater than any individual beautiful object. The Christian tradition again explains this through participation. Created things are beautiful, yes, because God creates them beautiful, but also because they participate according to their nature in the beauty of God. They do not possess beauty independently. They receive it, they reflect it, and they participate in it. And the ultimate source of that beauty is God. God is not simply therefore the most beautiful object in existence. He is the source and ground of every created perfection. And this brings us back to where we started. Beauty draws us toward its source. Why does beauty attract us? Why does it cause us delight and joy? Why do we want to contemplate it? Because beauty has a direction. It draws us toward itself. But, like we said, if every created beauty is finite, then no individual beautiful thing can be the final object of our desire, because then we'll never be satisfied. The sunset says, "Look at me." But when we look deeper and we are willing to contemplate, it also says, "Look beyond me." Music is beautiful, but music is not beauty itself. The human person is beautiful, but again, the human person is not beauty itself. Creation is beautiful, but creation is not God. Every finite beauty is a participation in something greater. And now we come back to us. This is why beauty matters. We are creatures capable of recognizing form, harmony, order, and goodness. We don't merely react to things, we can contemplate them. We can delight in something simply because it is beautiful. And perhaps this is why beauty can move us so deeply. When we encounter beauty, we are encountering something real and objective within creation. We are encountering order, goodness, and intelligibility. And ultimately, we as Christians will say, we are encountering participation in God. As Paul says, for from him and through him and to him are all things. Everything comes from God. Everything exists through him. Everything is ordered toward him. And that includes beauty. So, back to the initial question. Is beauty evidence for God? Now, the argument that I'm making is not simply the world is pretty, therefore God exists. The argument is deeper. If beauty is real, it involves the objective reality such as form, order, proportion, unity, completeness, and the proper manifestation of what a thing is. Those realities reveal that creation possesses an intelligible order. That intelligible order ultimately points towards an intelligible source. And the Christian says that source is the Creator. But even further, beautiful things don't merely come from a particular distant force. They participate in God's goodness and beauty. And because beauty draws the mind toward contemplation, every created beauty ultimately points toward the one who is the source, cause, and final end of all beauty. So, when you stand beneath a star-filled sky, when you hear music that moves your heart, when you see the face of someone you love and you are drawn, when something makes you stop and simply contemplate its beauty, causing such delight and joy within you, don't stop at the thing itself. Ask what the beauty is telling you. Because creation is not beautiful instead of God. Creation is beautiful because of God. Every finite beauty is a participation. Every harmony reflects an order. Every perfection points beyond itself. And every beautiful thing whispers, I am not beauty itself, but I come from Him, the one from whom and through whom and to whom are all things, the Creator, the Logos, the beautiful one, our God. God bless.